Have you ever considered that one day you will wake up for the very last time, and you will not know that it is your last sunrise? The tea you drink, the people you love, the air you breathe, and the simple moments you ignore today may become the very things you would give anything to experience one more time. Yet most people move through life distracted, stressed, and emotionally exhausted, treating each day as ordinary. Buddhism teaches a truth that has the power to transform your entire life. The greatest gift you have ever received is not money, success, or status. It is this day, this breath, this moment. And if you can learn to see life through that lens, your happiness, your peace, and your gratitude will never be the same again. 1. Life is impermanent. That is what makes it precious. One of the most important teachings in Buddhism is the understanding of impermanence. The Buddha taught that everything in life is constantly changing. Nothing remains exactly the same forever. The seasons change, relationships change, circumstances change, and even the person you are today will not be the same person you become tomorrow. Many people fear this truth because they want certainty and permanence. But Buddhism teaches that impermanence is not something to fear. In fact, it is what gives life its beauty and value. If every moment lasted forever, we would stop appreciating it. The reason a sunset feels beautiful is because it eventually disappears. The reason a flower is precious is because it blooms for only a short time. In the same way, your life becomes valuable because it is temporary. Most people live as though they have endless tomorrows. They postpone joy, gratitude, peace, and meaningful experiences because they assume there will always be another chance. They tell themselves they will start living after they achieve success, earn more money, or solve all their problems. But years pass, opportunities disappear, and suddenly they realize that time moved much faster than they expected. Buddhism reminds us that this day will never come again. The morning you experience today is unique and can never be repeated. Every conversation, every smile, every opportunity to learn and grow exists only once in this exact form. 2. Happiness exists in ordinary moments in Buddhism. One of the biggest reasons people suffer is because they are always chasing happiness somewhere else. They believe happiness will finally arrive when they earn more money, achieve success, find the perfect relationship, or solve every problem in their life. Because of this mindset, they spend years running toward the future while completely ignoring the beauty that already exists in the present moment. The Buddha taught that true happiness is often found in simple and ordinary experiences. It can be found in a peaceful morning, a deep breath, a quiet walk, a kind conversation, or a moment of gratitude. These things may seem small, but they are the moments that make up most of our lives. The problem is not that happiness is missing. The problem is that the mind is too distracted to notice it. Many people rush through their days without truly experiencing them. They are always thinking about what happened yesterday or worrying about what might happen tomorrow. As a result, they miss the only moment that actually exists, the present one. Buddhism encourages us to slow down and become fully aware of where we are. When we do this, ordinary moments begin to feel meaningful again, and we realize that happiness was never as far away as we imagined. 3. Stop waiting for the perfect time to live. One of the most common mistakes people make is believing that life will finally begin someday in the future. They tell themselves they will be happy when they earn more money, when their problems disappear, when they find the right relationship, or when everything feels stable and secure. But Buddhism teaches that this way of thinking can quietly steal years from your life because the perfect moment rarely arrives. The Buddha taught that the present moment is all we truly have. The past is already gone, and the future has not yet arrived. Yet many people spend most of their lives trapped between regret about yesterday and anxiety about tomorrow. They become so focused on preparing for life that they forget to actually live it. Days become months, months become years, and before they realize it, a large part of their life has already passed. This does not mean you should stop planning for the future or working toward your goals. Buddhism encourages growth and self-improvement, But it also teaches that happiness should not be postponed until everything becomes perfect. You can work toward your dreams while still appreciating today. You can face challenges while still finding reasons to smile. Life is not something that starts when all your problems are solved. Life is happening right now, in this very moment. The sooner you understand this truth, the sooner you stop waiting for happiness and start experiencing it. 4. Gratitude transforms the mind. In Buddhism, gratitude is far more than simply saying thank you. It is a way of seeing the world. It is the ability to recognize the value of what already exists in your life, instead of constantly focusing on what is missing. Many people spend their entire lives chasing more money, more success, more recognition, and more possessions, believing that happiness is waiting somewhere in the future. Because of this, they rarely stop to appreciate what they already have. Their minds become trained to notice problems, imperfections, and disappointments, while overlooking the countless blessings that surround them every day. The Buddha taught that much of human suffering comes from craving and attachment. The mind continuously wants more and more, and no matter how much it receives, it quickly becomes dissatisfied again. This creates a cycle where people are always searching but rarely feeling fulfilled. Gratitude breaks this cycle. It shifts your attention away from what is absent and redirects it toward what is present. Instead of constantly thinking about what life owes you, gratitude reminds you of what life has already given you. Consider how many things you may take for granted each day. The ability to wake up in the morning, breathe fresh air, walk, speak, learn, see the beauty of nature, share a meal, or spend time with people you care about. These simple experiences seem ordinary because they are familiar, but they are not guaranteed. There are people who would give anything to experience the things you overlook every day. Buddhism encourages us to recognize this truth because awareness naturally creates appreciation. When gratitude becomes a habit, it begins to transform the way you experience life. Challenges still exist, but they no longer dominate your attention. Difficult moments still happen, but they no longer convince you that your entire life is negative. Gratitude helps you maintain balance. It reminds you that even during hard times, there is still something valuable to appreciate. A difficult day does not erase a loving family. A setback does not erase your ability to grow. A mistake does not erase your worth as a human being. Many people believe happiness creates gratitude, but Buddhism teaches that gratitude often creates happiness. The more you appreciate what you have, the more content and peaceful you become. Your mind stops racing toward the next achievement and starts finding joy in the present moment. You begin noticing things that were always there but never fully appreciated. A sunrise becomes more beautiful. A conversation becomes more meaningful. An ordinary day becomes something special. The simple truth is that life changes when gratitude becomes part of your daily mindset. The world around you may remain the same, but the way you experience it becomes completely different. Instead of constantly feeling deprived, you begin feeling blessed. Instead of focusing on what is missing, you begin recognizing what is already enough. This is why gratitude is one of the most powerful practices in Buddhism. It does not change your circumstances overnight, but it changes the mind that experiences those circumstances, and that can change everything. 5. Your thoughts create much of your suffering. One of the most powerful teachings in Buddhism is the realization that much of our suffering does not come directly from life itself. It comes from the way we think about life. Two people can face the same situation and experience it completely differently because their minds interpret it differently. The event may be the same, but the thoughts surrounding the event create a very different reality. This is why Buddhism places such great importance on understanding and training the mind. The Buddha taught that the mind is the source of both suffering and peace. If you do not learn to understand your thoughts, they can quietly control your entire life. Many people spend their days trapped inside mental stories they continuously repeat. They worry about things that have not happened yet. They replay painful memories from years ago. They imagine worst-case scenarios and convince themselves those scenarios are inevitable. A small problem becomes a huge disaster inside their imagination. A simple mistake becomes proof that they are not good enough. A negative comment from one person becomes something they carry in their mind for weeks. Over time, they begin suffering not because of reality itself, but because of the endless stream of fearful and negative thoughts they keep feeding. The Buddha observed this truth thousands of years ago. He noticed that people often create a second layer of suffering on top of life's natural difficulties. Pain may be unavoidable, but mental suffering is often created by resistance, attachment, fear, and constant overthinking. For example, losing something valuable may bring sadness. That sadness is natural. But then the mind begins asking endless questions. Why did this happen to me? What if things never get better? What if I never recover? What if my future is ruined? The event itself may have lasted a moment, but the mind keeps recreating the suffering long after the event is over. This is why Buddhism teaches the practice of observing thoughts instead of immediately believing them. Not every thought that enters your mind is true. Not every fear is a prediction. Not every doubt reflects reality. Thoughts are constantly appearing and disappearing, just like clouds moving across the sky. Yet many people treat every thought as a fact. They never question it. They never step back and observe it. As a result, they become prisoners of their own minds. Imagine spending an entire day listening to a person who constantly criticizes you, predicts failure, reminds you of every mistake, and tells you to worry about everything. Most people would find that exhausting. Yet this is exactly how many people speak to themselves inside their own minds every day. They become their own harshest critic, their own source of fear, and their own source of stress. Buddhism teaches that freedom begins when you become aware of this inner dialogue. When you start observing your thoughts, you create space between yourself and your mind. Instead of saying, "I am anxious," you begin noticing, "I am experiencing anxious thoughts." Instead of saying, "I am a failure," you begin noticing, "I am having thoughts about failure." This small shift is powerful because it reminds you that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness observing them. The more you practice this awareness, the less control negative thinking has over your life. The Buddha taught that a disciplined mind leads to happiness, while an uncontrolled mind creates suffering. This does not mean eliminating all negative thoughts. That is impossible. It means learning not to be controlled by them. Thoughts will come and go. Some will be helpful, and some will not. Wisdom comes from recognizing the difference and choosing which thoughts deserve your attention. When you begin training your mind in this way, life starts to feel lighter. You stop fighting battles that exist only in your imagination. You stop carrying worries that belong to the future. You stop allowing old memories to steal today's peace. Instead, you become more present, more calm, and more aware. The circumstances around you may not change immediately, but your relationship with those circumstances changes completely. This is one of the greatest truths Buddhism offers. The mind can be your greatest source of suffering, but it can also become your greatest source of freedom. The choice begins with awareness. The moment you stop believing every thought and start observing them with wisdom, you take the first step toward lasting inner peace. 6. Every day is a new beginning. One of the most beautiful truths taught in Buddhism is that every day offers a chance to begin again. No matter what happened yesterday, no matter how many mistakes you made, how many opportunities you missed, or how much pain you have experienced, the present moment always gives you another opportunity to move forward. Yet many people spend their lives trapped by the weight of their past. They carry old regrets, old failures, old disappointments, and old wounds everywhere they go. Even when life gives them a fresh start, they continue looking backward, allowing yesterday to steal the peace that belongs to today. The Buddha taught that attachment is one of the primary causes of suffering, and one of the strongest attachments people develop is attachment to their past. Some people cannot stop thinking about mistakes they made years ago. Others constantly replay moments when they were hurt, rejected, embarrassed, or treated unfairly. Their bodies may be living in the present, but their minds remain stuck in events that no longer exist. They continue reliving experiences that are already gone, and because of this, they struggle to fully experience the life that is unfolding right in front of them. The truth is that every human being makes mistakes. Every person experiences failure, disappointment, and loss. There is no life without challenges. There is no journey without setbacks. The problem is not that these things happen. The problem is when people allow those experiences to define who they are forever. A mistake becomes an identity. A failure becomes a label. A painful chapter becomes the entire story. Buddhism teaches that this way of thinking creates unnecessary suffering because it prevents growth and transformation. Consider nature for a moment. Every morning the sun rises without carrying the darkness of the previous night. Every season arrives without holding on to the season before it. Trees lose their leaves and grow new ones. Flowers bloom, fade, and bloom again. Nature constantly demonstrates the principle of renewal. Life itself is always moving forward. Yet human beings often resist this natural process by clinging to things that have already passed. The Buddha encouraged people to understand that change is always possible. The person you were yesterday is not exactly the same person you are today. With every experience, every lesson, and every moment of awareness, you are changing. This means your future is not trapped by your past. Just because you failed before does not mean you will fail again. Just because you made poor choices in the past does not mean you must continue making them. Every new day gives you an opportunity to think differently, act differently, and become someone wiser than you were before. Many people wait for a dramatic moment to change their lives. They believe transformation must happen all at once. But Buddhism teaches that true transformation often happens through small daily choices. A better thought, a kinder response, a healthier habit, a moment of patience, a decision to let go of resentment. These small actions may seem insignificant, but over time they create a completely different life. Every meaningful change begins with a single step taken in the present moment. When you wake up each morning, you are given something incredibly valuable. Another chance to learn, another chance to grow, another chance to love, another chance to forgive, another chance to appreciate the gift of being alive. Many people focus so much on what they lost yesterday that they fail to notice the opportunities available today. Buddhism reminds us that life is constantly offering new beginnings, but we must be willing to accept them. This does not mean forgetting the past completely. The past contains lessons that can help us become wiser, but there is a difference between learning from the past and living inside it. Wisdom means carrying the lesson forward while leaving the suffering behind. It means using yesterday as a teacher rather than allowing it to become a prison. The simple truth is that every sunrise represents a fresh beginning. Every breath represents a fresh beginning. Every moment you become aware of your thoughts, your actions, and your choices, a new beginning becomes possible. The Buddha taught that freedom is found not by changing the past, but by fully awakening to the present. When you embrace this truth, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of what happened before and start seeing yourself as the creator of what comes next. And that realization can completely change the direction of your life. 7. The greatest gift is simply being alive in Buddhism. One of the deepest and most life-changing realizations a person can have is understanding that simply being alive is already an extraordinary gift. It sounds simple, yet most people spend their entire lives overlooking this truth. They wake up each morning, immediately begin focusing on problems, responsibilities, worries, goals, and frustrations. Their minds rush toward what is missing, what is difficult, and what needs to be fixed. Because of this habit, they rarely stop and appreciate the miracle that is already taking place. They forget that they are alive. They forget that they can breathe, think, learn, grow, love, and experience this world. They become so busy surviving life that they never truly experience it. The Buddha taught that human life is precious beyond measure. According to Buddhist teachings, Being born as a human being is an incredibly rare opportunity. Why? Because human life provides the ability to develop wisdom, practice compassion, understand suffering, and awaken to deeper truths. Yet many people waste this opportunity because they assume they will always have more time. They believe there will always be another year, another chance, another tomorrow. But Buddhism reminds us that nothing in life is guaranteed. The future is uncertain. The next breath is not promised. This realization is not meant to create fear. It is meant to awaken appreciation. Think about how often people postpone their happiness. They tell themselves they will enjoy life when they have more money. They will appreciate life when they have fewer problems. They will feel grateful when everything finally goes according to plan. But life does not work that way. Problems come and go. Challenges appear and disappear. Goals are achieved and then new goals take their place. If you wait for perfect circumstances before appreciating your life, you may spend your entire life waiting. Many people live as though they are preparing for life rather than living it. They wake up stressed, rush through their day, worry about the future, compare themselves to others, and then go to sleep exhausted. The next day they repeat the same pattern. Weeks become months, months become years. Then one day they look back and wonder where all the time went. They realize they were so busy chasing a better life that they forgot to appreciate the life they already had. Buddhism teaches that true awakening begins when you stop treating life as something ordinary. Consider everything that had to happen for you to be here today. You survived every challenge that came before this moment. You experienced countless events, choices, opportunities, and circumstances that led you to this exact point in time. Out of countless possibilities, you are here right now, alive and conscious. Yet because this experience feels normal, most people never stop to appreciate how extraordinary it truly is. The human mind has a tendency to focus on what is wrong rather than what is right. If something goes well 10 times and poorly once, many people focus entirely on the one negative experience. This habit creates the illusion that life is mostly suffering. While Buddhism acknowledges that suffering exists, it also teaches that beauty exists alongside suffering. There is beauty in a sunrise, beauty in friendship, beauty in learning something new, beauty in laughter, beauty in kindness, beauty in simple moments of peace. The problem is not that beauty is absent. The problem is that the mind is often too distracted to notice it. Imagine waking up tomorrow and viewing the entire day as a gift rather than an obligation. Imagine appreciating your morning coffee, your ability to walk, the people around you, the fresh air, the sunlight, and even the simple fact that you have another day to experience life. Nothing around you may change, yet your experience of life would be completely different. This is one of the most powerful teachings in Buddhism. Happiness often comes not from changing your circumstances, but from changing the way you see them. The Buddha frequently encouraged people to contemplate the temporary nature of life, not because life is depressing, but because awareness of impermanence increases appreciation. When you understand that everything is temporary, you stop taking things for granted. You appreciate the people you love more deeply. You become more grateful for ordinary moments. You become less obsessed with minor problems. You realize that many of the things causing stress today will eventually disappear. This perspective creates wisdom. One of the greatest tragedies is reaching the end of life and realizing you never fully lived. Many people spend years trapped in fear, resentment, comparison, worry, and self-doubt. They postpone joy because they believe there will always be more time. Then suddenly they discover that time passes faster than they ever imagined. The years disappear. Opportunities disappear. The people they love grow older. Life keeps moving forward. Buddhism encourages us to wake up before that realization arrives. Being alive means you still have possibilities. You still have the ability to change. You still have the ability to learn. You still have the ability to heal. You still have the ability to forgive, grow, create, and become wiser. No matter how difficult your past has been, as long as you are alive, your story is still being written. Every new day contains opportunities that did not exist yesterday. Every sunrise is proof that life is offering you another chance. Many people underestimate the value of simple experiences until those experiences are gone. A healthy body is often appreciated only after illness appears. Time with loved ones is often appreciated only after separation. Peace is often appreciated only after chaos. Life itself is often appreciated only when people realize how fragile it truly is. Buddhism teaches us not to wait until something is lost before appreciating it. Appreciate it now. Appreciate the people around you now. Appreciate your opportunities now. Appreciate your life now. When gratitude becomes part of your daily practice, life begins to feel richer. Not because you suddenly acquire more possessions or achieve greater success, but because you become aware of the abundance that already exists. You begin noticing moments that once seemed insignificant. A smile becomes meaningful. A quiet evening becomes valuable. A conversation becomes memorable. You realize that many of the things you once overlooked were actually some of the greatest gifts life had to offer. The Buddha taught that peace is not found by endlessly chasing more. Peace is found by awakening to what already exists. The present moment contains far more beauty than most people realize. Yet they miss it because their minds are always somewhere else. They are thinking about tomorrow, worrying about next year, or regretting the past. As a result, they overlook the miracle of the present moment. But the present moment is where life actually happens. It is where joy happens. It is where gratitude happens. It is where peace happens. The simple truth is that being alive is already enough reason to be grateful. You do not need a perfect life to appreciate life. You do not need perfect circumstances to experience peace. You do not need everything to go your way before recognizing the value of your existence. The ability to wake up, breathe, learn, grow, and experience another day is already an incredible gift. One day, every person will experience their final sunrise, their final conversation, their final breath, and their final opportunity to experience this world. Nobody knows when that day will come. This is why Buddhism encourages us to live with awareness today. Do not wait until tomorrow to appreciate your life. Do not wait until everything is perfect before allowing yourself to feel grateful. Do not wait until old age to realize how precious your time has always been. The greatest gift was never hidden in money, status, possessions, or achievements. The greatest gift has been with you from the very beginning. It is the gift of being alive, the gift of experiencing this moment, the gift of having another chance to learn, grow, love, and awaken. Once you truly understand this, you stop treating life as something ordinary. You begin seeing each day as the miracle it has always been, and that realization can transform the way you live forever. 8. The present moment is the only life you truly have. One of the deepest teachings in Buddhism is the understanding that the present moment is not just part of life, it is life itself. This may sound simple, but very few people truly understand it. Most people spend their days mentally living somewhere else. Their bodies are in the present, but their minds are trapped in memories of the past or worries about the future. They replay old mistakes, relive painful experiences, imagine future problems, and constantly think about what might happen next. Because of this, they miss the only place where life is actually happening, the present moment. The Buddha taught that suffering often grows when the mind abandons the present. The past can no longer be changed, yet many people spend years wishing it had been different. They think about opportunities they missed, words they should have said, mistakes they should not have made, and decisions they wish they could undo. They carry these memories everywhere they go. Even though those moments are gone, they continue allowing them to influence their peace. At the same time, they worry endlessly about the future. They imagine worst-case scenarios, fear outcomes that have not happened, and create anxiety about events that may never occur. As a result, they become trapped between yesterday and tomorrow, while completely missing today. Imagine holding a beautiful flower in your hands while constantly looking behind you and ahead of you. You would never truly see the flower. This is how many people experience life. They are surrounded by beauty, opportunities, relationships, and meaningful moments, but their attention is always somewhere else. They are eating while thinking about work. They are spending time with family while checking their phones. They are walking through nature while worrying about bills. They are living life while failing to experience it. Buddhism teaches that peace becomes possible when you return your awareness to the present moment. The present moment is where breathing happens. It is where love happens. It is where gratitude happens. It is where growth happens. Every meaningful experience in your life occurs in the present. Yet because the mind is constantly wandering, people often overlook the richness of what is right in front of them. The Buddha observed that the human mind behaves like a restless monkey, jumping from one thought to another without stopping. One moment it worries about the future. The next moment it regrets the past. Then it compares itself to other people. Then it creates another fear, another doubt, or another desire. This constant mental movement creates exhaustion. Many people believe they are tired because of work or responsibilities, but often they are exhausted because their minds never rest. Their thoughts are running all day long. Mindfulness is one of Buddhism's most powerful solutions to this problem. Mindfulness means paying full attention to what is happening right now. It means becoming aware of your breathing, your surroundings, your thoughts and your experiences, without immediately judging them. It means fully experiencing the moment instead of constantly escaping from it. When you practice mindfulness, ordinary experiences begin to feel different. A meal becomes more enjoyable. A conversation becomes more meaningful. A walk becomes more peaceful. Life becomes richer because you are finally present enough to experience it. Many people spend years searching for happiness in the future. They believe happiness will arrive after they achieve success, find the right relationship, buy a bigger house, earn more money, or solve every problem in their life. But Buddhism teaches that happiness cannot be found by constantly running away from the present moment. If you cannot appreciate today, there is a good chance you will struggle to appreciate tomorrow as well. The habit of dissatisfaction follows people wherever they go. This is why inner peace must be developed now, rather than postponed until some future date. Consider how often people say things like, I'll be happy when I get the promotion, I'll be happy when I find a partner, I'll be happy when I have more money, I'll be happy when life becomes easier. The problem is that once one goal is achieved, another goal immediately appears. The mind keeps moving the finish line. Happiness remains somewhere in the distance. Years pass, and the person never learns how to appreciate the present. The Buddha taught that contentment does not come from having everything you want. It comes from learning to appreciate what already exists. This does not mean abandoning ambition or refusing to improve your life. It means refusing to postpone your happiness until everything becomes perfect. You can work toward a better future while still appreciating today. You can pursue goals while remaining grateful for the journey. You can grow without constantly feeling incomplete. Another reason the present moment is so important is because it is the only place where change can happen. You cannot change yesterday. You cannot act in tomorrow. Every decision, every improvement, every act of kindness, every step toward wisdom happens in the present moment. If you want to improve your life, you must begin now. If you want more peace, you must practice peace now. If you want more gratitude, you must practice gratitude now. The present moment is where transformation begins. Many people are waiting for a special moment to start living differently. They are waiting for motivation, inspiration, or perfect circumstances. But Buddhism teaches that life changes through awareness and consistent action, not through waiting. Every day offers opportunities to become wiser, kinder, calmer, and more grateful. The question is whether you are present enough to notice those opportunities. One day, you will look back on your life. You will not remember every email, every worry, every stressful thought, or every problem that consumed your attention. What you will remember are the moments when you were truly present, the laughter you shared with people you loved, the peaceful mornings, the meaningful conversations, the beautiful sunsets, the moments when you felt fully alive. These experiences may seem small while they are happening, but they often become the memories that matter most. This is why Buddhism continually brings us back to the present moment. Not because the past and future are meaningless, but because life itself can only be experienced now. The present moment is not something you must survive on your way to a better future. It is the very place where your life is unfolding. Every breath is happening now. Every opportunity is happening now. Every moment of peace is happening now. The simple truth is that the present moment is the greatest gift you possess. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow is uncertain. But this moment is here. When you learn to fully appreciate it, you stop feeling as though life is always passing you by. You stop chasing happiness in distant places. You stop overlooking the beauty that already surrounds you. Instead, you begin experiencing life directly, deeply, and consciously. And that is where true peace begins. 9. Stop living as if you will be here forever. One of the most profound teachings in Buddhism is the reminder that life is temporary. Everything that is born will eventually pass away. Every season changes. Every moment comes and goes. Every person who enters this world will one day leave it. While many people try to avoid thinking about this reality, Buddhism encourages us to reflect on it deeply, not because life is hopeless, but because understanding the temporary nature of life can completely transform the way we live. Most people live as though they have an unlimited amount of time. They act as if tomorrow is guaranteed. They postpone important conversations. They delay their dreams. They hold on to grudges for years. They continue unhealthy habits. They keep waiting for the perfect moment to become happier, kinder, more grateful, or more present. But the Buddha taught that one of the greatest illusions of the human mind is believing there will always be more time. Think about how many people say, "I'll do it later." They will spend more time with their family later. They will take care of their health later. They will pursue their passion later. They will start appreciating life later. They will forgive someone later. They will travel later. They will finally slow down and enjoy life later. But later is never guaranteed. Many people reach the end of their lives carrying regrets because they assumed they had more time than they actually did. Buddhism teaches a practice known as mindfulness of death, often called maranasati. This practice does not encourage fear, it encourages awareness. The Buddha understood that when people remember the reality of death, they begin living differently. They stop wasting energy on meaningless arguments. They stop obsessing over small problems. They stop allowing trivial concerns to consume their minds. Instead, they begin focusing on what truly matters. Imagine that you knew with complete certainty that you had only 1 year left to live. How would your priorities change? Would you continue worrying about every negative comment someone made about you? Would you spend hours comparing yourself to others on social media? Would you continue holding resentment toward people for mistakes they made years ago? Would you keep postponing experiences that bring meaning to your life? Most likely, your perspective would change dramatically. Now imagine you had only 1 month left. Many of the things that currently dominate your attention would suddenly seem insignificant. The promotion you are stressing about might not matter nearly as much. The argument you keep replaying in your mind might lose its importance. The possessions you are chasing might seem less valuable than the relationships you have neglected. You would begin seeing life through a different lens. The Buddha wanted people to develop this perspective without waiting until their final days. He taught that awareness of life's impermanence helps us appreciate life more fully. When you realize that your time is limited, each day becomes more valuable. You stop treating your mornings as ordinary. You stop assuming that every opportunity will come again. You begin understanding that every day is unique and irreplaceable. Many people assume they have decades ahead of them, but the truth is that nobody knows how much time remains. Some people leave this world unexpectedly. Others live long lives but spend much of that time distracted, stressed, and disconnected from what matters most. The goal is not simply to live longer. The goal is to live more consciously. A person can live 80 years without truly appreciating life, while another person can live fewer years yet experience deep gratitude, wisdom, and fulfillment. One of the reasons people struggle to appreciate life is because they become familiar with it. They wake up each day expecting the same routines, the same experiences, and the same opportunities. Familiarity creates blindness. People stop noticing the miracle of being alive because being alive feels normal. They stop appreciating their loved ones because they assume those people will always be there. They stop appreciating their health because they assume it will last forever. They stop appreciating time because they believe there will always be more of it. But Buddhism reminds us that everything changes. The people you love are changing every day. Your body is changing every day. Your circumstances are changing every day. Time is moving whether you notice it or not. This truth is not meant to make you sad. It is meant to wake you up. It is meant to help you see life more clearly. When you understand impermanence, gratitude becomes natural. You appreciate conversations because you know they will not last forever. You appreciate relationships because you know they are precious. You appreciate ordinary moments because you know they are temporary. Suddenly, things that once seemed insignificant become meaningful. A quiet dinner with family, a walk in nature, a peaceful morning, a heartfelt conversation. These moments become treasures rather than routine experiences. The Buddha taught that attachment often causes suffering because people desperately want things to remain the same. They want youth to last forever. They want success to last forever. They want pleasure to last forever. They want loved ones to stay forever. But life does not work this way. Change is unavoidable. The more we resist this truth, the more we suffer. The more we accept it, the more peaceful we become. Accepting impermanence does not mean becoming detached from life. It means becoming more deeply connected to it. When you know something is temporary, you pay closer attention. You become more present. You appreciate it more fully. A person who understands the value of time does not waste it carelessly. A person who understands the fragility of life does not take it for granted. Many people reach old age and realize they spent years worrying about things that never truly mattered. They worried about impressing people who barely thought about them. They worried about mistakes that no one remembered. They worried about outcomes they could not control. Meanwhile, life quietly passed by. The moments they could have enjoyed were sacrificed to anxiety, comparison, and fear. Buddhism encourages us to avoid this trap. It asks us to remember that life is happening right now, not next year, not after you solve every problem, not after you achieve every goal. Right now, this moment is part of your life. The people around you are part of your life. The opportunities in front of you are part of your life. If you keep postponing happiness, appreciation, and presence, you risk missing the very life you are trying to improve. Imagine looking back on your life many years from now. What will matter most? It is unlikely that you will cherish every stressful day spent worrying about things beyond your control. It is unlikely that you will treasure the hours spent comparing yourself to others. What you will remember are the meaningful moments, the moments of love, the moments of gratitude, the moments when you felt truly alive, the moments when you were fully present. This is why the Buddha continually reminded people of life's temporary nature, not to create fear, but to create wisdom, not to make people depressed, but to help them awaken. When you stop living as if you will be here forever, you begin living with greater purpose. You become more intentional with your time. You become more appreciative of your relationships. You become more grateful for each day you are given. The simple truth is that time is your most valuable possession. Money can be earned again. Opportunities can sometimes return. Material things can be replaced. But time only moves in one direction. Every day that passes is a day that will never return. Every sunrise is unique. Every moment is unrepeatable. So do not wait for a crisis to appreciate your life. Do not wait until old age to realize how precious your years have been. Do not wait until something is lost before recognizing its value. The Buddha's message is clear. Wake up now, appreciate now, Live now, because one day, whether sooner or later, every person will take their final breath. And when that moment comes, what will matter most is not how much you accumulated or how busy you were. What will matter is whether you truly lived, whether you appreciated the gift of existence, and whether you spent your time focused on what genuinely mattered. The moment you stop living as if you will be here forever is the moment you finally begin to understand how precious life really is. 10. Wake up before life passes you. By one of the saddest realities in human life is that many people do not truly wake up until it is too late. They spend years following routines, chasing goals, reacting to problems, and moving from one responsibility to another without ever pausing to ask themselves an important question. Am I actually living? Or am I simply existing? Buddhism encourages us to ask this question because the answer has the power to change the direction of our entire lives. The Buddha taught that most people move through life in a state of unconsciousness. They are awake physically, but asleep mentally and spiritually. They repeat the same habits every day. They react to the same emotions. They follow the same fears. They allow their minds to control them, rather than learning how to control their minds. Because of this, they often reach the end of one year only to realize that it looked almost exactly like the year before. Time continues moving forward, yet they remain trapped in the same patterns. Many people assume that simply getting older means they are growing. But Buddhism teaches that growing older and becoming wiser are not the same thing. A person can live for 80 years and never truly understand themselves. They can spend decades chasing approval, accumulating possessions, comparing themselves to others, and worrying about things that ultimately do not matter. Meanwhile, another person may live a much shorter life yet gain deep wisdom because they learned how to pay attention, reflect, and awaken to the truth of existence. One reason people fail to wake up is because modern life constantly distracts them. There is always something demanding attention. There is another notification, another worry, another goal, another problem, another source of entertainment. The mind becomes so busy that there is little room for reflection. Days become crowded with activity, but empty of awareness. People are constantly doing something, yet rarely asking themselves whether what they are doing is leading them toward peace or further away from it. The Buddha understood that distraction can become a form of escape. Many people stay busy because they are afraid to sit quietly with themselves. Silence forces them to confront questions they have been avoiding. Are they happy? Are they living according to their values? Are they spending their time wisely? Are they appreciating their life? These questions can be uncomfortable. So many people fill every moment with noise and activity. But avoiding these questions does not make them disappear. It simply delays the moment of realization. One day everyone experiences moments that force them to reflect. Sometimes it happens after the loss of a loved one. Sometimes it happens after an illness. Sometimes it happens after failure, heartbreak, or a major life change. In those moments, people often realize how much of their life they have taken for granted. They suddenly see that the things they worried about were not nearly as important as they once believed. They recognize that time is precious. They understand that happiness cannot be postponed forever. Buddhism encourages us to develop this awareness before a crisis forces it upon us. The Buddha did not want people to wait until their final years to understand what truly matters. He wanted them to wake up now. He wanted them to realize that every day contains opportunities to live with greater awareness, compassion, gratitude, and wisdom. Consider how much energy people spend worrying about things they cannot control. They worry about what others think of them. They worry about events that have not happened. They worry about outcomes that may never occur. They replay conversations in their minds. They imagine future disasters. They become trapped inside cycles of anxiety and fear. Yet when they look back years later, many of those worries turn out to have been unnecessary. The situations they feared never happened, or if they did happen, they were able to handle them. The Buddha taught that worrying does not protect us from suffering. In many cases, it creates additional suffering. A person may experience a challenge once in reality, but hundreds of times in their imagination. The mind becomes trapped in endless scenarios, consuming energy that could have been used to enjoy life, help others, or cultivate inner peace. Another reason people fail to wake up is because they become attached to the idea that happiness exists somewhere else. They believe they will finally be happy when they achieve a certain goal, reach a certain income, find a certain relationship, or obtain a certain status. This belief keeps happiness permanently out of reach. The mind continues chasing the next achievement, while overlooking the value of what already exists. Buddhism teaches that happiness is not found by constantly running toward the future. Happiness begins when we become fully present in the life we already have. This does not mean abandoning ambition. It means refusing to sacrifice today's peace for tomorrow's promises. It means learning how to appreciate the journey rather than becoming obsessed only with the destination. Many people spend years searching for meaning, without realizing that meaning is often found in simple things. It is found in kindness, it is found in gratitude, it is found in helping others, it is found in being fully present with the people you love. It is found in learning, growing, and becoming a better human being. These things may not attract as much attention as wealth or status, but they often create far deeper fulfillment. The Buddha frequently reminded his followers that life is uncertain. We know we will die someday, but we do not know when. This truth is not meant to create fear. It is meant to create urgency. Not the urgency of panic, but the urgency of awareness. The urgency of appreciating what matters while we still can. The urgency of expressing love while people are still here. The urgency of living according to our values, rather than postponing everything important until later. Imagine reaching the end of your life and looking back. What would matter most? Would you care about every stressful day spent worrying about things beyond your control? Would you care about every argument you won? Would you care about every possession you accumulated? Perhaps some of those things would matter a little. But what many people discover is that the moments they treasure most are often the simplest ones. Time spent with loved ones, acts of kindness, moments of gratitude, experiences of genuine connection, times when they felt fully alive. This realization reveals something important. The best parts of life are often available to us right now. They do not always require extraordinary success or perfect circumstances. They require awareness. They require presence. They require a willingness to stop rushing through life long enough to notice what is already here. Buddhism teaches that awakening is not a single dramatic event. It is a gradual process of seeing more clearly. It is recognizing how much of our suffering comes from attachment, fear, and unconscious habits. It is understanding that happiness cannot be found by endlessly chasing external things. It is realizing that peace begins within the mind. Every moment of awareness is a step toward awakening. When you begin waking up, your relationship with life changes. You stop taking ordinary days for granted. You become more grateful for simple experiences. You stop allowing minor problems to dominate your attention. You become less concerned with impressing others and more concerned with living authentically. You stop measuring success only by what you possess and begin measuring it by the quality of your mind and the depth of your relationships. You also become more compassionate. When you understand your own struggles, you become more understanding of the struggles of others. You realize that everyone is carrying invisible burdens. Everyone is facing challenges. Everyone is searching for happiness in their own way. This understanding creates kindness and reduces judgment. Perhaps the greatest gift of awakening is that it allows you to truly experience life. Instead of constantly rushing toward the future, you begin appreciating the present. Instead of living on autopilot, you become conscious of your choices. Instead of being controlled by fear, you develop trust in your ability to face whatever comes. Life does not become perfect, but it becomes more meaningful. The simple truth is that life is passing by whether you pay attention or not. Every day that goes by is a day that will never return. Every conversation, every sunrise, every opportunity to learn and grow is unique. Buddhism invites us to recognize this reality before it is too late. It asks us to wake up while we still have time, to appreciate while we still can, to live consciously instead of unconsciously. Because one day, the opportunity to change, to grow, to love, and to experience this world will come to an end. Until then, you have a choice. You can continue moving through life asleep, distracted by endless worries and desires, or you can wake up to the miracle of being alive. And the moment you truly wake up, life begins to reveal a beauty that was there all along. 11. Learn to see every day as a gift before it is too late. One of the most important truths taught in Buddhism is that life becomes meaningful when we learn to appreciate it while we still have it. This sounds obvious, yet it is something most people fail to do. Human beings have a tendency to overlook what is already present and focus instead on what is missing. They become so accustomed to the blessings in their lives that they stop noticing them altogether. The ability to wake up each morning, the ability to breathe, the presence of loved ones, the opportunity to learn, grow, and experience another day all begin to feel ordinary. Yet Buddhism teaches that these things are not ordinary at all. They are extraordinary gifts that many people fail to recognize until they are gone. The Buddha observed that much of human suffering comes from ignorance. This ignorance is not a lack of intelligence, it is a lack of awareness. People move through life without fully understanding the value of what they already possess. They spend years chasing more money, while ignoring the health that allows them to enjoy life. They spend years seeking approval, while overlooking relationships that truly matter. They spend years worrying about tomorrow, while failing to appreciate today. Because their attention is always focused somewhere else, they miss the richness of the present moment. Think about how often people say things like, "I'll appreciate life when my problems are solved." They believe happiness and gratitude should come after success, after achievement, after comfort, or after perfect circumstances arrive. But life rarely becomes perfect. New challenges replace old ones. New goals replace completed goals. New desires replace fulfilled desires. If appreciation depends on perfection, many people will spend their entire lives waiting. Buddhism teaches a different path. It teaches that gratitude is not the result of a perfect life. Gratitude is a way of seeing life. Two people can experience similar circumstances and feel completely different. One person notices only problems. The other notices opportunities, lessons, and blessings. One person feels deprived. The other feels grateful. The difference is not always in their circumstances. The difference is often in their awareness. Many people underestimate how quickly life passes. When we are young, time appears endless. Days feel long. Years seem distant. We assume there will always be another opportunity. But as life continues, something surprising happens. The years begin moving faster. Childhood becomes a memory. Friends move away. Parents grow older. Seasons come and go. One day, people realize that the future they were waiting for has quietly become the present. Then they begin asking themselves where all the time went. The Buddha wanted people to understand this reality while there was still time to benefit from it. He did not teach impermanence to create sadness. He taught it to create appreciation. When you understand that everything changes, you stop taking things for granted. You stop assuming there will always be another chance. You begin treating each day as something valuable rather than something ordinary. Imagine waking up tomorrow with the understanding that this day will never come again. Not next week, not next year, not ever. How would you live differently? Would you continue complaining about every inconvenience? Would you spend hours comparing yourself to other people? Would you remain angry about things that happened years ago? Or would you become more present, more grateful, and more aware of what truly matters? Buddhism teaches that awareness of life's fragility transforms our priorities. Suddenly, relationships become more important than possessions. Experiences become more valuable than status. Peace becomes more meaningful than constant achievement. The things that once seemed urgent lose some of their power. The things that truly matter become clearer. Many people spend enormous amounts of energy trying to control every aspect of their lives. They want certainty. They want guarantees. They want assurance that nothing painful will happen. But life does not offer these promises. Change is inevitable. Loss is inevitable. Uncertainty is inevitable. The Buddha taught that peace comes not from controlling life, but from learning how to relate to life wisely. When you accept uncertainty, you become more capable of appreciating what is here right now. There is a powerful irony in human nature. People often recognize the value of something only after it is gone. They appreciate health after illness appears. They appreciate time after realizing how little remains. They appreciate loved ones after separation. They appreciate peace after experiencing chaos. Yet Buddhism encourages us not to wait for loss before appreciation arises. Why wait until something disappears before recognizing its value? Why not appreciate it now? Every day contains countless gifts that many people overlook. The gift of another sunrise, the gift of fresh air, the gift of movement, the gift of learning something new, the gift of hearing a loved one's voice, the gift of laughter, the gift of silence, the gift of possibility. These experiences may seem small, but together they create the richness of life. Unfortunately, because they are familiar, people stop noticing them. The Buddha taught mindfulness as a way of restoring this awareness. Mindfulness allows us to slow down and experience life directly. Instead of rushing through our days, we begin paying attention. We notice simple pleasures. We recognize moments of beauty. We appreciate experiences that once seemed insignificant. Life does not necessarily change, but our relationship with life changes dramatically. Many people believe that extraordinary experiences are what make life meaningful. They imagine that happiness depends on major achievements, grand adventures, or dramatic success. Yet when people reflect on their lives, they often discover that their most cherished memories are surprisingly simple. A conversation with someone they loved, a peaceful evening, a shared laugh, a moment of kindness, a quiet morning. These moments often matter more than the things they once spent years chasing. This realization contains an important lesson. Meaning is often hidden inside ordinary moments, but those moments can only be appreciated when we are present enough to notice them. A distracted mind misses what a mindful mind sees clearly. This is why Buddhism places such importance on awareness. Awareness allows us to experience the richness that already exists around us. Another reason people struggle to appreciate life is because they become trapped in comparison. They constantly measure their lives against the lives of others. Someone else appears more successful, more attractive, wealthier, or happier. As a result, they begin focusing on what they lack instead of what they have. This habit creates dissatisfaction. No matter how much they achieve, someone else always seems to have more. The Buddha taught that comparison is a dangerous path because it prevents contentment. True gratitude does not arise from having more than others. It arises from appreciating what is already present. When you stop measuring your life against everyone else's life, you create space for peace. You begin recognizing blessings that comparison once obscured. Learning to see each day as a gift also changes how you approach challenges. Difficulties do not disappear, but they no longer dominate your entire perspective. You recognize that life contains both joy and pain, both success and failure, both comfort and struggle. Instead of demanding that life be perfect, you learn to appreciate it as it is. This acceptance creates resilience. The Buddha often reminded his followers that every human life contains suffering. Yet he also taught that suffering is not the whole story. There is also beauty. There is also wisdom. There is also compassion. There is also joy. The challenge is learning how to use these things before life passes by, unnoticed. One of the greatest regrets people express near the end of life is not that they failed to accumulate enough possessions. It is that they failed to fully appreciate the life they already had. They wish they had worried less. They wish they had spent more time with loved ones. They wish they had been more present. They wish they had enjoyed simple moments instead of constantly rushing toward the future. Buddhism encourages us to learn this lesson now rather than later. Why wait until old age to appreciate life? Why wait until loss to appreciate what remains? Why wait until the end to understand what matters? The opportunity to awaken exists today. The simple truth is that every morning you open your eyes, life is giving you another chance. Another chance to learn, another chance to grow, another chance to love, another chance to forgive, another chance to become wiser than you were yesterday. This opportunity is precious because it is temporary. One day it will no longer be available. That is exactly why it deserves appreciation now. When you truly understand this teaching, your relationship with life changes. You stop seeing days as things to get through. You start seeing them as gifts to experience. You stop postponing gratitude. You stop postponing happiness. You stop postponing life itself. Instead, you begin living with greater awareness, deeper appreciation, and a stronger sense of wonder. And perhaps that is one of the greatest lessons Buddhism offers. Do not wait until life is almost over to realize how precious it has always been. Learn to see every day as a gift, while you still have the opportunity to enjoy it. Because one day, the ordinary moments you overlook today may become the very moments you would give anything to experience one more time. 12. The day you truly wake up, your life begins. There is a moment that comes in the lives of many people. Although not everyone recognizes it when it arrives, it is not marked by applause, success, wealth, or some dramatic achievement. It is a quiet moment, often born from reflection, hardship, or deep awareness. It is the moment when a person finally realizes that they have been asleep to their own life. They have been moving through their days automatically, following routines, chasing expectations, worrying about countless things, and waiting for happiness to arrive from somewhere outside themselves. Then suddenly, something changes. They begin to see life differently. They begin to understand what the Buddha spent his life teaching. They begin to wake up. In Buddhism, awakening does not mean escaping reality. It means seeing reality clearly. It means removing the illusions that have kept you trapped. It means recognizing how much of your suffering came not from life itself, but from the stories your mind created about life. It means understanding that happiness was never hiding in some distant future. It was waiting in the present moment all along. The day you realize this is the day your life truly begins. Most people spend years living according to unconscious habits. They wake up and immediately reach for their phone. They compare themselves to others. They rush through the day. They worry about things beyond their control. They repeat the same thoughts over and over again. They become so familiar with this way of living that they assume it is normal. They never stop to question whether there might be another way. Yet Buddhism teaches that there is. The Buddha himself was born into comfort, privilege, and luxury. From the outside, his life appeared complete. He had wealth, status, and everything many people spend their lives trying to obtain. Yet, despite having these things, he sensed that something was missing. He saw that suffering existed everywhere. People grew old. People became sick. People died. People chased happiness but often remained dissatisfied. This realization led him on a journey that would eventually transform not only his own life, but the lives of millions of others. What the Buddha discovered was remarkably simple, yet profoundly powerful. He discovered that most people are asleep to the truth of their existence. They are trapped by attachment, fear, craving, and ignorance. They spend their lives searching outside themselves for what can only be found within. They believe more possessions will make them happy. They believe more success will make them happy. They believe more recognition will make them happy. Yet even after obtaining these things, they often remain restless because the real problem was never outside them. It was inside the mind. The day you begin to understand this truth, everything starts to change. You stop looking at life in the same way. You begin noticing how often your mind creates unnecessary suffering. You notice how quickly you become attached to outcomes. You notice how often you worry about things that never happen. You notice how much energy is wasted, trying to control what cannot be controlled. Awareness begins to replace unconsciousness. One of the greatest signs of awakening is realizing that life is happening right now, not tomorrow, not next year, not after you solve every problem, not after you achieve every goal. Right now. This moment is your life. The breath you are taking is your life. The people around you are part of your life. The opportunities in front of you are your life. Yet many people spend so much time preparing for life that they forget to actually live it. Think about how many moments have already passed. Countless mornings, countless conversations, countless opportunities to appreciate something beautiful. Many of those moments slipped away unnoticed because the mind was elsewhere. It was worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. Buddhism teaches that awakening means returning to the present. It means becoming fully aware of the miracle unfolding around you every day. The awakened person begins to understand something that the distracted mind often misses. Life is not found in grand achievements alone. It is found in simple moments, a meaningful conversation, a walk in nature, a moment of gratitude, a quiet evening, a deep breath. These moments may seem small, but together they form the fabric of a meaningful life. Many people wait for extraordinary experiences before allowing themselves to feel grateful. They tell themselves they will appreciate life after they become successful. They will be happy after they earn more money. They will feel peace after every problem is solved. But awakening reveals a different truth. Gratitude does not come after life becomes perfect. Gratitude comes when you begin seeing life clearly. When awareness deepens, you start recognizing how many gifts have been surrounding you all along. The ability to see, the ability to hear, the ability to think, the ability to learn, the ability to love, the ability to experience another day. These things often go unnoticed because they are familiar, yet they are among the greatest blessings a human being can possess. The Buddha taught that human life itself is precious, not because it is easy, but because it provides an opportunity for growth and awakening. Every challenge contains a lesson. Every difficulty contains an opportunity to develop wisdom. Every disappointment contains an opportunity to practice acceptance. Every relationship contains an opportunity to practice compassion. The awakened mind begins seeing life as a teacher rather than an enemy. Another important aspect of awakening is letting go of the need to constantly compare yourself to others. Comparison keeps many people trapped in dissatisfaction. No matter what they achieve, someone else appears to have more. Someone else appears more successful, more attractive, wealthier, or happier. As long as happiness depends on comparison, contentment remains impossible. The Buddha taught that peace comes from looking inward rather than outward. Your journey is your own. Your growth is your own. Your lessons are your own. When you stop measuring your life against everyone else's life, you create space for appreciation. You begin focusing on your own path instead of becoming distracted by the paths of others. Awakening also changes the way you view time. The average person assumes there will always be more time to pursue dreams, more time to spend with loved ones, more time to appreciate life, more time to become the person they want to be. But Buddhism reminds us that time is never guaranteed. Every day is precious because it cannot be repeated. Every moment is valuable because it will never return. When this truth truly sinks in, procrastination begins to lose its power. You stop postponing what matters. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop assuming there will always be another opportunity. Instead, you begin living more intentionally. You say the words that need to be said. You express gratitude while people are still here to hear it. You appreciate experiences while they are still available. Many people believe awakening will make life easier, but Buddhism does not promise a life free from difficulty. Challenges still arise. Pain still exists. Loss still occurs. What changes is your relationship with these experiences. Instead of resisting reality, you learn to work with it. Instead of becoming overwhelmed by every difficulty, you develop resilience. Instead of being controlled by fear, you cultivate understanding. The awakened mind understands that suffering is part of life, but it also understands that suffering is not the entire story. There is beauty alongside pain, There is joy alongside sadness. There is peace available even during difficult times. Life becomes richer because you stop seeing it in black and white. You begin embracing the full reality of existence. One of the greatest transformations that occurs during awakening is the realization that happiness is not something you find. It is something you cultivate. It grows through gratitude. It grows through mindfulness. It grows through compassion. It grows through wisdom. It grows through learning how to appreciate the present moment instead of constantly chasing the next one. The Buddha spent decades teaching this truth because he knew how easily people become distracted. He knew how easy it is to spend an entire lifetime asleep. He knew how many people would reach old age only to realize they had never fully experienced their lives. That is why his message remains so powerful today. Wake up, pay attention, appreciate this moment, appreciate this life. The simple truth is that the day you truly wake up is the day your life begins. Not because your circumstances suddenly become perfect, but because you finally begin seeing clearly. You stop taking life for granted. You stop postponing gratitude. You stop living on autopilot. You start noticing the beauty that was always there. You start appreciating the gifts that were always present. You start experiencing each day with greater awareness and deeper understanding. And when that happens, life no longer feels like something you are rushing through. It becomes something you are fully living. It becomes something you are grateful for. It becomes something sacred. That is the power of awakening. That is the wisdom of Buddhism. And that is why the day you truly wake up is the day your life truly begins. 13. Nothing is more valuable than the time you have left. There comes a moment in many people's lives when they suddenly realize a truth they spent years ignoring. They realize that time is moving much faster than they thought. The years that once seemed endless have quietly passed. Childhood feels like yesterday. Old memories feel close even though decades may have gone by. People they once loved have changed. Some have disappeared from their lives entirely. Places that once felt familiar no longer exist in the same way. The world has continued moving forward, and so has life. In that moment, many people begin to understand something Buddhism has taught for thousands of years. Nothing is more valuable than the time you have left. The Buddha often spoke about impermanence because he understood how easily people become distracted from this reality. Human beings naturally assume there will always be more time to pursue dreams, more time to repair relationships, more time to become healthier, more time to appreciate life, more time to tell people how much they matter, more time to change. Yet life offers no such guarantees. Every person knows they will eventually die, but very few people live as though this truth is real. Instead, they behave as if life will continue forever. This illusion influences nearly every decision people make. It causes them to delay important things. It causes them to waste energy on meaningless concerns. It causes them to postpone happiness until some future date that may never arrive. They spend years chasing things they believe will finally complete them, only to discover that fulfillment cannot be found in the places they expected. The Buddha taught that awareness of death is not meant to create fear. It is meant to create wisdom. When you understand that your time is limited, your priorities begin to change. Suddenly, many of the things that once seemed important lose their power. Petty arguments become less significant. Endless comparison becomes less attractive. The desire to impress people becomes less important. You begin asking deeper questions. What truly matters? What kind of life am I creating? What memories am I making? Am I spending my time wisely? Many people live according to the assumption that they can always start tomorrow. Tomorrow they will become healthier. Tomorrow they will meditate. Tomorrow they will appreciate life more. Tomorrow they will stop worrying. Tomorrow they will begin pursuing their dreams. But tomorrow has a way of continually moving further away. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. Months become years. Then one day people realize that the future they were waiting for has already become the past. Buddhism encourages us to stop living this way. It teaches that the most important time is now, not because the future does not matter, but because now is the only moment in which action is possible. You cannot change yesterday. You cannot live in tomorrow. Every choice you make happens in the present moment. Every act of kindness happens in the present moment. Every step toward growth happens in the present moment. Every opportunity to appreciate life exists in the present moment. Think about how much time people spend worrying. They worry about what others think. They worry about the future. They worry about mistakes they made years ago. They worry about things they cannot control. If they could see their lives from the perspective of old age, many of those worries would seem insignificant. They would realize that they sacrificed precious years to fears that never truly deserved that much attention. The Buddha understood that the mind often becomes trapped in unnecessary suffering. A person can spend months worrying about an event that lasts only a few minutes. They can replay an embarrassing moment for years, even though everyone else has forgotten it. They can imagine countless negative scenarios that never happen. In doing so, they lose time that could have been spent experiencing peace, gratitude, and connection. One of the greatest tragedies is not death itself. The greater tragedy is reaching the end of life and realizing you never fully lived. Many people arrive at this realization too late. They spent so much time preparing for life that they forgot to experience it. They spent so much time working toward the future that they overlooked the beauty of the present. They spent so much time chasing more that they failed to appreciate what they already had. The Buddha taught that contentment is one of the greatest forms of wealth. This does not mean abandoning goals or refusing to improve your life. It means understanding that life is happening right now, not after every goal has been achieved. A person can spend their entire life chasing happiness without realizing that happiness was available in simple moments all along. Consider some of the moments that often bring the deepest fulfillment. Sharing a meal with loved ones, watching a sunset, helping someone who is struggling, experiencing a quiet morning, laughing with friends, sitting peacefully in nature. None of these experiences require extraordinary success. Yet people overlook them because they are focused on something bigger, something further away, something they believe will finally make them happy. Buddhism reminds us that life is made up of moments. A meaningful life is not built from one extraordinary event. It is built from thousands of ordinary moments experienced with awareness. Every day offers opportunities to create memories, deepen relationships, and cultivate gratitude. But these opportunities can only be appreciated when we recognize their value. Many people assume they have plenty of time because they measure life in years. They think about being 30, 40, 50, or 80 years old. But Buddhism encourages a different perspective. Life is not experienced in years. Life is experienced in days. Today is a day. Tomorrow will be a day. Eventually those days become a lifetime. The way you spend today matters because today is part of your life. Imagine receiving a limited amount of money that could never be replaced. Most people would spend it carefully. They would think deeply before wasting it. Yet time is far more valuable than money. Money can be earned again. Time cannot. Every hour that passes is gone forever. Every day that ends can never be repeated. This truth may sound obvious, but most people live as though it is not true. The Buddha wanted people to awaken to this reality because awareness changes behavior. When you understand that your time is precious, you become more intentional. You stop allowing trivial matters to consume your energy. You become more selective about where you direct your attention. You spend more time with people who matter. You become more willing to forgive. You become more willing to appreciate. Another important lesson Buddhism teaches is that the future is uncertain. Some people assume they will have decades ahead of them. Others assume there will always be another opportunity. Yet nobody knows how much time remains. This uncertainty is not meant to create anxiety. It is meant to encourage presence. It is meant to remind us that the best time to live fully is now. Many people postpone expressing love. They assume there will be another chance. They postpone gratitude. They postpone kindness. They postpone pursuing meaningful goals. Then life changes unexpectedly, opportunities disappear, relationships end, circumstances shift. Suddenly they realize that waiting carried a cost. The Buddha encouraged people to live in a way that leaves fewer regrets. Speak kindly while you have the chance. Appreciate people while they are still here. Take care of your mind while you have the opportunity. Use your time wisely, not because life is short in comparison to eternity, but because every day has value. As awareness deepens, a person begins understanding that the quality of life matters more than the quantity of possessions. What good is great wealth if the mind remains restless? What good is status if peace is absent? What good is success if relationships are neglected? Buddhism teaches that true wealth is found in wisdom, gratitude, compassion, and inner peace. The more you reflect on the value of time, the more clearly you begin seeing what matters. You stop obsessing over things that once seemed urgent. You become more present, more grateful, more intentional. You begin treating each day as something valuable rather than something ordinary. The simple truth is that every day you wake up, your life becomes slightly shorter. Yet that is not a reason for sadness, it is a reason for appreciation. It is a reminder that today matters. This conversation matters. This moment matters. Your choices matter. Your attention matters. One day, whether sooner or later, every person will reach the final chapter of their life. At that moment, the question will not be how much time was given. The deeper question will be how that time was used. Did you spend it worrying endlessly? Did you spend it chasing things that never truly satisfied you? Or did you spend it appreciating the gift of being alive? The Buddha's message remains as powerful today as it was thousands of years ago. Time is your most valuable possession. Protect it. Respect it. Use it wisely. Do not wait until the end of life to understand its value. Understand it now, because nothing is more valuable than the time you have left. And every moment you are given is an opportunity to more consciously, love more deeply, and appreciate life more fully than ever before. 14. The simple truth most people realize too late. There is a truth so simple that many people overlook it for most of their lives. It is not hidden in a distant mountain, locked inside an ancient temple, or reserved only for great spiritual masters. It is available to every person, every day, in every moment. Yet despite its simplicity, millions of people reach the end of their lives without fully understanding it. The truth is this: light self is the gift. Most people spend their lives searching for something they believe is missing. They search for more success, more money, more recognition, more possessions, more comfort, and more certainty. They convince themselves that happiness is waiting somewhere ahead of them. If they can just achieve one more goal, solve one more problem, or reach one more milestone, then they will finally feel complete. But Buddhism teaches that this endless search often becomes the very thing preventing people from experiencing the peace they seek. The Buddha observed that the human mind is rarely satisfied. As soon as one desire is fulfilled, another appears. As soon as one goal is achieved, a new goal takes its place. This creates an endless cycle of chasing and striving. People keep moving forward, believing fulfillment exists somewhere further down the road. Meanwhile, the days, months, and years of their lives quietly pass by. Many people imagine that suffering comes only from painful events. They assume suffering is caused by illness, loss, failure, or disappointment. While these experiences certainly bring pain, Buddhism teaches that a great deal of suffering comes from something else entirely. It comes from constantly wishing life were different than it is. It comes from resisting reality. It comes from believing that the present moment is not enough. Think about how often people postpone their happiness. They say they will be happy when they find the right relationship. They will be happy when they earn more money. They will be happy when they retire. They will be happy when life becomes easier. The problem is that life continues moving while they are waiting. They postpone appreciation. They postpone peace. They postpone gratitude. In many ways, they postpone living itself. The Buddha taught that awakening begins when you stop treating life as a problem that must be solved and start seeing it as an experience that must be lived. This does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending difficulties do not exist. It means recognizing that life is happening right now, even while challenges exist. It means understanding that happiness is not something reserved for a future version of yourself. It is something you can begin cultivating today. One reason people struggle to understand this truth is because they become trapped in comparison. They constantly compare their lives to the lives of others. Someone else appears wealthier. Someone else appears more successful. Someone else appears happier. Social comparison creates the illusion that happiness belongs to other people. It convinces individuals that they are falling behind, or that they are somehow incomplete. Buddhism teaches that comparison is a thief of peace. The moment you begin measuring your worth against someone else's journey, you lose sight of your own blessings. Gratitude becomes difficult because attention is focused on what is lacking rather than what is present. Yet the truth remains unchanged. No matter how much another person has, the value of your life is not diminished. The Buddha frequently encouraged his followers to reflect on the preciousness of human existence. Human life is unique because it provides the opportunity to learn, grow, reflect, and awaken. Every day contains lessons. Every challenge contains wisdom. Every interaction contains an opportunity to practice compassion. Every moment contains the possibility of awareness. Yet these opportunities are often overlooked because people are distracted by the pursuit of more. Imagine someone carrying a priceless jewel in their pocket while spending years searching for treasure. Everywhere they go, they look outside themselves. They search in distant places. They work harder and harder. They become exhausted from the pursuit. Then one day they discover the treasure was with them the entire time. This is similar to how many people approach happiness. They search endlessly for something that can only be found through awareness. The simple truth most people realize too late is that life was never meant to be rushed through. It was meant to be experienced. Every morning contains beauty. Every season contains lessons. Every relationship contains opportunities for connection. Every challenge contains opportunities for growth. Yet these things can only be appreciated when we are present enough to notice them. Many people reach old age and discover that the moments they treasure most were not the moments they expected. They rarely speak about the emails they sent, the meetings they attended, or the possessions they accumulated. Instead, they remember conversations with loved ones. They remember moments of laughter. They remember sunsets, friendships, acts of kindness, and experiences of genuine connection. They remember the moments when they felt fully alive. This realization reveals something important. Meaning is not hidden in some distant future. Meaning is often found in ordinary experiences: a quiet walk, a shared meal, a moment of gratitude, a peaceful morning. These experiences may appear small, but together they create a meaningful life. The Buddha taught mindfulness because he understood that the present moment is where life actually exists. The past survives only as memory. The future exists only as imagination. The present moment is reality, yet many people spend very little time there. Their minds are constantly wandering. They revisit old regrets. They anticipate future worries. They become so preoccupied with what is not happening that they fail to notice what is. Mindfulness brings us back to life. It allows us to hear more clearly, see more clearly, and appreciate more deeply. It reminds us that the present moment is not something we must endure until better circumstances arrive. It is where our lives are unfolding. Another reason people realize this truth too late is because they assume there will always be more time. They postpone important conversations. They delay acts of kindness. They wait to express appreciation. They assume opportunities will always remain available. But life rarely follows our plans. Circumstances change, people leave, time moves forward. Suddenly, opportunities disappear. The Buddha taught that awareness of impermanence is one of the greatest sources of wisdom. When you understand that everything changes, you stop taking things for granted. You appreciate people more deeply. You become more grateful for ordinary experiences. You stop postponing what matters. Instead of assuming there will always be another chance, you begin valuing the opportunities available today. One of the most powerful transformations in Buddhism occurs when a person shifts from asking, "What is missing?" to asking, "What is already here?" This small change in perspective can alter an entire life. Suddenly, attention moves away from scarcity and toward abundance. The mind begins recognizing blessings that were previously ignored. Gratitude grows naturally because awareness has grown. Many people believe that awakening requires dramatic changes. They imagine they must leave everything behind or completely transform their lives overnight. But Buddhism often points toward a simpler path. Awakening begins with seeing clearly. It begins with appreciating what is already present. It begins with recognizing the value of this moment. You do not need a perfect life to experience gratitude. You do not need unlimited wealth to experience contentment. You do not need perfect circumstances to experience peace. What you need is awareness. Awareness allows you to see what was always there. It allows you to recognize that life itself is the gift. Every breath you take is evidence of this gift. Every sunrise is evidence of this gift. Every opportunity to learn, love, and grow is evidence of this gift. These things may seem ordinary because they happen every day, but they are extraordinary when viewed through the eyes of awareness. The simple truth most people realize too late is not that life was harder than they expected. It is that life was more beautiful than they noticed. They spent so much time searching for happiness that they overlooked it. They spent so much time chasing the future that they missed the present. They spent so much time wanting more that they forgot to appreciate enough. The Buddha's message remains as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. Wake up before life passes you by. Appreciate what you have while you have it. Do not wait for perfect conditions before allowing yourself to feel grateful. Do not postpone happiness until some future date. Do not assume there will always be more time. The greatest wisdom is often the simplest wisdom. Life itself is the gift. This day is the gift. This moment is the gift. And the sooner you understand that truth, the sooner you begin living in a way that honors the preciousness of your existence. Because one day you will look back on your life. And when that day comes, the question will not be how much you accumulated, how much status you achieved, or how many people admired you. The deeper question will be whether you recognized the gift while you still had it. And that is the simple truth most people realize too late. 15. Before your last day comes, learn how to truly live. There is one reality that unites every human being who has ever lived. No matter how powerful, wealthy, intelligent, successful, or famous a person becomes, one day their journey will come to an end. Every life eventually reaches its final chapter. Every person will experience a last sunrise, a last conversation, a last breath, and a last opportunity to experience this world. Buddhism does not teach this truth to frighten us. Instead, it teaches it because understanding the reality of death can teach us how to truly live. Most people know they will die someday, but very few people live as though that truth is real. They treat time as if it is unlimited. They assume there will always be another opportunity. They postpone joy. They postpone gratitude. They postpone peace. They postpone becoming the person they want to be. They continue telling themselves they will start living later. Yet later has a way of disappearing. The future arrives, becomes the present, and then quietly turns into the past. The Buddha understood something many people fail to realize until very late in life. The greatest danger is not death itself. The greatest danger is reaching the end of life and discovering that you never truly lived. It is possible to spend decades surviving without ever feeling fully alive. It is possible to remain busy every day while never experiencing real peace. It is possible to achieve success while remaining disconnected from what matters most. Many people spend their entire lives chasing things they believe will make them happy. They chase money, status, recognition, possessions, and achievements. There is nothing inherently wrong with pursuing goals, but Buddhism teaches that these things cannot provide lasting fulfillment on their own. The reason is simple. Every achievement eventually becomes normal. Every possession eventually loses its excitement. Every accomplishment eventually becomes part of the past. The mind quickly adapts and begins searching for the next thing. This endless search keeps many people trapped. They believe happiness is always somewhere ahead of them. They imagine that fulfillment exists in a future version of life. Because of this, they fail to appreciate the life unfolding right in front of them. They become experts at preparing for life, while remaining strangers to actually living it. The Buddha taught that life is not something waiting in the future. Life is happening now. Every breath is life. Every experience is life. Every conversation is life. Every challenge and every joy are part of life. Yet many people are so distracted by their thoughts that they miss the experience entirely. Think about how often the mind travels away from the present moment. It revisits mistakes from years ago. It imagines future problems. It worries about what other people think. It compares one life to another. It creates endless stories, fears, and expectations. As a result, people spend much of their lives mentally absent. Their bodies are present, but their attention is elsewhere. Buddhism teaches that awakening begins when you return to the present moment. The present moment is not just part of life. It is life. The past exists only in memory. The future exists only in imagination. The present moment is where your life is actually taking place. Learning to fully experience this moment is one of the greatest skills a person can develop. Many people assume they need extraordinary experiences to feel alive. They imagine happiness exists in dramatic achievements, luxury, fame, or adventure. Yet when people reflect on the most meaningful moments of their lives, they often remember simple things. A meaningful conversation, a moment of laughter, time spent with loved ones, a peaceful morning, a beautiful sunset, a quiet act of kindness. These moments often leave the deepest impact because they connect us directly to life. The Buddha frequently encouraged people to observe the simplicity of existence, the sound of birds, the feeling of breathing, the changing seasons, the beauty of nature. These things may seem ordinary, but they contain lessons about life itself. They remind us that beauty often exists in places the distracted mind overlooks. One reason people struggle to truly live is because they become trapped by fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of uncertainty. Fear convinces them to postpone their lives. It tells them to wait until they feel ready. It tells them to remain safe and avoid risk. Yet Buddhism teaches that certainty is impossible. Life is uncertain by its very nature. Waiting for perfect certainty often means waiting forever. The awakened person understands that uncertainty is not the enemy. Uncertainty is part of being alive. Every meaningful experience contains uncertainty. Every relationship contains uncertainty. Every dream contains uncertainty. Instead of resisting this reality, wisdom teaches us to embrace it. Another obstacle to truly living is attachment. The Buddha taught that attachment often creates suffering because people become obsessed with controlling outcomes. They want everything to happen exactly as planned. They want life to unfold according to their expectations. When reality differs from those expectations, frustration appears. But life has never promised perfection. Relationships change. Circumstances change. Health changes. Opportunities change. The more tightly we cling to how things should be, the more difficult it becomes to appreciate how things actually are. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means seeing reality clearly and responding with wisdom rather than resistance. Many people also spend years carrying emotional burdens that prevent them from fully experiencing life. They carry resentment. They carry regret. They carry guilt. They carry old wounds from the past. These burdens consume mental energy and make it difficult to appreciate the present moment. Buddhism encourages forgiveness, not because others always deserve it, but because carrying bitterness often harms the person holding it. Forgiveness creates freedom. It allows people to stop reliving the same pain repeatedly. It allows them to reclaim energy that was trapped in the past. It allows them to move forward with greater peace. The Buddha taught that compassion is another essential part of truly living. Many people focus so heavily on themselves that they overlook the power of helping others. Yet some of the deepest fulfillment comes from acts of kindness, offering support, listening with attention, helping someone who is struggling, showing patience, demonstrating understanding. These actions create meaning because they connect us to something larger than ourselves. When people reach the final stages of life, they rarely regret being kind. They rarely regret spending time with loved ones. They rarely regret expressing gratitude. What they often regret are the opportunities they ignored, the relationships they neglected, and the experiences they postponed. They regret the moments they allowed fear, pride, or distraction to steal from them. This is why Buddhism continually reminds us of impermanence, not to create sadness, but to create urgency. Not the urgency of panic, but the urgency of awareness. The urgency of appreciating life while it is still available. The urgency of becoming present before the moment passes. The urgency of loving while people are still here. Imagine that you could see your life from the perspective of your final day. What would matter most? Would you care about every stressful email, every minor disagreement, every comparison with others? Or would your attention shift toward the experiences that truly mattered? Most people already know the answer. The challenge is living according to that wisdom now, rather than waiting until it is too late. The Buddha's teachings encourage us to bring that awareness into daily life. Appreciate simple moments. Practice gratitude. Be present with the people you love. Let go of unnecessary worries. Develop wisdom. Cultivate compassion. Take care of your mind. Use your time intentionally. True living is not measured by how much you accumulate. It is measured by how deeply you experience life. It is measured by your ability to appreciate what is already here. It is measured by the peace you cultivate within yourself. It is measured by the kindness you share with others. Every morning you wake up, life gives you another opportunity, another chance to learn, another chance to grow, another chance to forgive, another chance to love, another chance to appreciate the miracle of existence. Many people overlook this opportunity because it arrives quietly. It does not announce itself. It simply appears as another ordinary day. Yet Buddhism teaches that there are no ordinary days. Every day is unique. Every day contains possibilities that will never exist again in exactly the same way. Every day is a portion of your life, and every day deserves appreciation. The simple truth is that nobody knows how much time remains. Some people have decades left, others have far less. But regardless of the amount, the principle remains the same. The time you have is precious. The people around you are precious. This moment is precious. Before your last day comes, learn how to truly live. Learn how to appreciate the present. Learn how to let go of what no longer serves you. Learn how to find peace within yourself. Learn how to notice the beauty that surrounds you every day. Learn how to experience gratitude before life teaches you its value through loss. Because one day your journey will end, just as every journey eventually ends. And when that day arrives, the most important question will not be how much you owned, how much status you achieved, or how many people admired you. The deeper question will be whether you truly lived, whether you appreciated the gift of being alive, and whether you awakened to the beauty that was present all along. That is the lesson, that is the wisdom, and that is why, before your last day comes, you must learn how to truly live. 16. One day you will understand. Why not understand now? There is a strange pattern that repeats itself throughout human life. Many of the truths that become obvious at the end of life are ignored during the years when they matter most. People spend decades chasing things they later realize were not as important as they believed. They sacrifice peace for stress, presence for distraction, gratitude for complaint, and meaningful experiences for endless pursuits that never truly satisfy them. Then, as time passes and wisdom grows, they begin to see life differently. They begin to understand what really matters. The tragedy is that many people reach this understanding only after most of their life has already passed. Buddhism asks a simple but powerful question. If these truths become clear eventually, why wait? Why spend years asleep to realities that can awaken you today? Why postpone wisdom until old age when it can transform your life right now? The Buddha devoted his life to helping people understand that awakening does not need to happen at the end of life. It can happen in this moment. Many elderly people share similar reflections when asked about their lives. They often say they worried too much. They spent too much time caring about what other people thought. They chased things that did not bring lasting happiness. They worked so hard for a future that they forgot to enjoy the present. They took relationships for granted. They assumed there would always be more time. These reflections are remarkably consistent across cultures, countries, and generations. Different people live different lives, yet many arrive at similar conclusions. They realize that inner peace mattered more than constant achievement. They realize that relationships mattered more than status. They realize that gratitude mattered more than accumulation. They realize that being present mattered more than being busy. The Buddha understood these truths long before modern psychology, self-help books, or scientific studies existed. He observed human suffering carefully and recognized a fundamental problem. People were looking for happiness in places where lasting happiness could never be found. They were searching outside themselves for something that ultimately depended on the condition of their minds. Many people spend years believing they need more in order to feel complete. More success, more money, more recognition, more possessions, more validation. Yet each achievement provides only temporary satisfaction. Soon the mind begins searching again. Another goal appears. Another desire emerges. Another destination becomes necessary. This cycle can continue indefinitely. A person may spend an entire lifetime running toward happiness without realizing they are running in circles. Buddhism teaches that the problem is not having goals. The problem is believing that fulfillment exists only after those goals are achieved. This belief keeps happiness permanently out of reach, because happiness is always waiting somewhere in the future. One day, many people discover that the future they were chasing has become the present. The years have passed, the goals have been achieved or abandoned, yet the peace they expected never fully arrived. This realization can be painful, but it can also become a doorway to wisdom. The Buddha taught that true peace begins when you stop constantly chasing the next moment and start appreciating the current one. This does not mean becoming passive or giving up ambition. It means understanding that life is not happening later. It is happening now. Think about how much of your life has already passed. Entire years that once felt distant now exist only as memories. Seasons came and went. People entered and left your life. Experiences that once seemed important have faded. Time moved forward regardless of whether you paid attention to it. This is one of the most powerful lessons Buddhism offers. Life is constantly changing, and every moment is temporary. Most people know this intellectually, but they do not truly feel it. If they did, they would live differently. They would spend less time holding grudges. They would spend less time worrying about minor problems. They would spend less time comparing themselves to others. They would become more grateful for ordinary experiences, because they would understand that those experiences are not guaranteed. The Buddha often encouraged reflection on impermanence because awareness of impermanence creates appreciation. When you know something will not last forever, you begin paying closer attention to it. You appreciate it more deeply. You stop assuming it will always be there. Imagine listening to a song knowing it is the last time you will ever hear it. You would pay attention differently. Imagine watching a sunset, knowing it was your final opportunity to witness one. You would notice details you normally ignore. Imagine speaking to someone you love, knowing it was your final conversation. Your words would likely become more thoughtful and meaningful. Buddhism teaches that this level of awareness should not be reserved for extraordinary situations. It should become part of daily life. Every day is valuable because it is temporary. Every conversation is valuable because it cannot be repeated exactly. Every opportunity is valuable because it may not return. One day, most people understand this. They understand it when time becomes more visibly limited. They understand it when loss teaches them what appreciation failed to teach. They understand it when they look back and see how quickly life moved. Buddhism asks, why wait for that moment? Why not understand now? Another truth many people discover late in life is that peace comes from within. Throughout their younger years, they often believed external circumstances were responsible for their happiness. They thought the next achievement would bring fulfillment. They thought the next relationship would solve loneliness. They thought the next purchase would provide satisfaction. Yet eventually they realized that external things can influence comfort, but they cannot create lasting peace. The Buddha repeatedly emphasized that the condition of the mind determines the quality of experience. Two people can live in similar circumstances and feel completely different. One may feel grateful while the other feels deprived. One may feel peaceful while the other feels anxious. The difference often lies not in external reality but in internal perspective. This realization changes everything. It shifts attention away from constantly trying to control the world and toward understanding the mind. Instead of asking, how can I get everything I want? A person begins asking, how can I develop wisdom, gratitude, and peace? This shift marks the beginning of true awakening. Many people also realize too late that relationships matter more than they imagined. At the end of life, few people wish they had spent more time worrying. Few wish they had spent more hours comparing themselves to others. Few wish they had accumulated more stress. Instead, they often wish they had spent more time with loved ones, more time appreciating people, more time expressing gratitude, more time creating meaningful memories. The Buddha taught compassion because he understood that human connection is deeply important. We are not meant to live entirely for ourselves. Helping others, showing kindness, practicing patience, and expressing love enrich life in ways that material success never can. One day, many people understand this. They understand that the quality of their relationships influence the quality of their lives. They understand that kindness mattered. They understand that compassion mattered. Buddhism encourages us to understand these things now, rather than later. Perhaps the most important realization of all is that life itself is the gift, not success, not possessions, not status. Life, the ability to breathe, the ability to experience, the ability to learn, grow, love, and awaken. These are extraordinary opportunities, yet they are often treated as ordinary because they are familiar. The Buddha wanted people to wake up to this truth. He wanted them to recognize the miracle hidden inside everyday existence, not because life is always easy, not because suffering does not exist, but because even amidst challenges, life remains precious. Every sunrise offers another opportunity to begin again. Every day provides another chance to learn. Every conversation offers another chance to connect. Every moment contains the possibility of awareness. These opportunities are available right now, not someday in the future. The simple truth is that one day you will understand many of these lessons. Time will teach them, experience will teach them, loss may teach them, age may teach them. The real question is whether you are willing to learn them before life forces the lesson upon you. Why wait until old age to appreciate your time? Why wait until loss to appreciate what you have? Why wait until regret to appreciate the present moment? Why wait until life is nearly over to understand what truly matters? The Buddha's message remains timeless because it invites us to wake up now, to become aware now, to appreciate now, to live now, because one day you will understand. The only question is whether you will understand while there is still plenty of life left to enjoy. And if you understand now, your remaining years may become richer, deeper, more peaceful, and more meaningful than you ever imagined possible. 17. The life you are waiting for is already here. One of the most powerful illusions that keeps people trapped in dissatisfaction is the belief that real life has not started yet. Many people spend years waiting. They wait for better circumstances. They wait for more money. They wait for the perfect relationship. They wait for success. They wait for confidence. They wait for peace. They wait for happiness. Deep down, They carry the belief that life will truly begin once certain conditions are met. The problem is that this mindset can quietly steal an entire lifetime. The Buddha taught that much of human suffering comes not from what is happening, but from the mind's constant desire to be somewhere else. The mind says, this moment is not enough. It says, things will be better later. It says, I will finally be happy when... And so people continue chasing an imagined future while overlooking the reality of the present. Years pass this way. People wake up each morning believing they are getting closer to life, without realizing that life is already happening. Every sunrise they witness is part of their life. Every conversation they have is part of their life. Every ordinary day they rush through is part of their life. Yet because they are focused on what comes next, they fail to fully experience what is here now. The Buddha observed that the human mind is rarely satisfied with the present moment. Even when people achieve goals they once dreamed about, the satisfaction often fades quickly. A person spends years working towards success. They finally achieve it, and for a short time they feel excited. Then the mind creates a new goal. Another destination appears. Another condition becomes necessary for happiness. The cycle continues. This pattern explains why so many people feel exhausted. They are constantly chasing a future that never arrives. When tomorrow comes, it becomes today. Then the mind immediately begins focusing on another tomorrow. Happiness remains permanently out of reach because it is always attached to some future event. Buddhism offers a radically different perspective. It teaches that the life you are waiting for is already here. The peace you seek begins in this moment. The gratitude you seek begins in this moment. The awareness you seek begins in this moment. The present moment is not an obstacle standing between you and your life. The present moment is your life. Think about how often people postpone joy. They tell themselves they will enjoy life after they finish school. Then they tell themselves they will enjoy life after they find a job. Then after they get married. Then after they buy a house. Then after they retire. Every stage of life becomes preparation for another stage of life. Meanwhile, the years disappear. Many elderly people look back and realize something surprising. The future they spent decades chasing never brought the fulfillment they expected. What they remember most are not the goals themselves. They remember experiences. They remember relationships. They remember moments of connection. They remember times when they felt present, grateful, and alive. The Buddha wanted people to understand this before reaching old age. He wanted them to wake up while there was still time to fully experience their lives. He wanted them to stop postponing happiness and start recognizing the value of what was already present. Many people believe extraordinary moments are what make life meaningful. They imagine happiness is hidden inside major achievements, dramatic events, or life-changing opportunities. Yet when people reflect on their most cherished memories, those memories are often surprisingly simple. Sitting with family, talking with a close friend, watching a sunset, walking through nature, laughing until they could not stop, experiencing a quiet moment of peace. These moments matter because they connect us directly to life. The problem is not that meaningful moments are rare. The problem is that distracted minds fail to notice them. People are physically present but mentally absent. They are eating while thinking about work. They are spending time with loved ones while checking notifications. They are watching beautiful sunsets while worrying about tomorrow. Their attention is everywhere except where life is actually happening. Buddhism teaches mindfulness because mindfulness returns us to reality. It helps us see what has always been there. It helps us experience life directly instead of through the filter of endless thoughts. The more present you become, the richer life feels. This does not mean problems disappear. Challenges remain part of life. Pain remains part of life. Uncertainty remains part of life. But the awakened person understands that difficulties do not prevent life from being meaningful. In fact, challenges often deepen appreciation. Consider how people often appreciate health after illness. They appreciate loved ones after separation. They appreciate peace after experiencing chaos. Difficult experiences frequently reveal the value of things that were previously overlooked. Buddhism encourages us to develop this appreciation without waiting for loss to teach the lesson. Why wait until something disappears before recognizing its value? Why wait until old age to appreciate youth? Why wait until sickness to appreciate health? Why wait until loneliness to appreciate relationships? Why wait until life is nearly over to appreciate being alive? The Buddha taught that awareness allows us to appreciate things while we still have them. This is one of the greatest gifts of mindfulness. It transforms ordinary experiences into extraordinary ones because it reveals their true value. Another reason people postpone life is because they become trapped by fear. Fear convinces them they are not ready. Fear tells them to wait until they feel more confident. Fear tells them to wait until conditions improve. Fear tells them to avoid risks and remain comfortable. But life does not wait. Time continues moving forward regardless of how prepared we feel. The Buddha understood that waiting for perfect certainty is a mistake because certainty rarely exists. There will always be unanswered questions. There will always be unknowns. There will always be risks. If you wait for perfect conditions before living fully, you may spend your entire life waiting. True wisdom comes from embracing life despite uncertainty. It comes from understanding that the future cannot be controlled completely. It comes from recognizing that this moment is enough. Many people also postpone life because they become trapped by comparison. They constantly look at what others have achieved. They compare careers, appearances, relationships, finances, and accomplishments. As a result, they begin feeling as though their own lives are incomplete. Comparison creates the illusion that happiness belongs to someone else. The Buddha taught that this illusion creates suffering because it prevents gratitude. As long as attention remains focused on what others possess, it becomes difficult to appreciate what is already present. Freedom begins when you stop measuring your life against someone else's journey. Freedom begins when you stop asking whether you have enough and start recognizing what you already have. Freedom begins when you stop waiting for a different life and start appreciating your actual life. The truth is that many people are surrounded by blessings they barely notice. They have people who care about them. They have opportunities to grow. They have the ability to learn. They have experiences available to them every day. Yet because these things are familiar, they often go unappreciated. The Buddha taught that gratitude changes everything. Gratitude does not require a perfect life. Gratitude does not require extraordinary success. Gratitude requires awareness. It requires seeing clearly. It requires recognizing that many of the things we take for granted are gifts. Every breath is a gift. Every sunrise is a gift. Every opportunity to begin again is a gift. Every day you wake up is a gift. The awakened person understands that life is not waiting somewhere in the future. Life is unfolding right now. The future may bring wonderful experiences, but it can never replace the present moment. The present moment is where your memories are created. The present moment is where relationships grow. The present moment is where wisdom develops. The present moment is where life happens. One day, many people realize this truth. They realize they spent too much time waiting, too much time worrying, too much time postponing happiness, too much time believing that life would begin later. Buddhism invites us to learn this lesson sooner. Do not wait until old age to discover what matters. Do not wait until loss teaches appreciation. Do not wait until regret teaches wisdom. Understand now what many people understand too late. The life you are waiting for is already here. The peace you seek begins here. The gratitude you seek begins here. The meaning you seek begins here. This moment is not standing between you and life. This moment is life. And the day you fully understand that truth is the day you stop waiting and finally begin living. As we come to the end of these teachings, take a moment to reflect on everything you have heard. The message of Buddhism is not complicated. In fact, its greatest wisdom is often its simplest wisdom. Life is precious. Time is limited. The present moment is all you truly have. Yet most people spend their lives searching for happiness somewhere else, while overlooking the miracle that is already in front of them. The Buddha taught that suffering often begins when we forget this truth. We become trapped in worries about the future. We become attached to the past. We compare ourselves to others. We chase things that cannot provide lasting fulfillment. We convince ourselves that peace will arrive later. But later keeps moving further away, and before we realize it, years have passed. One day, every person will look back on their life. In that moment, the things that once seemed so important may no longer matter. The money, the status, the endless worries, and the need for approval will fade into the background. What will remain are the moments that made you feel alive, the people you loved, the kindness you shared, the gratitude you felt, the beauty you noticed, the peace you cultivated within yourself. That is why Buddhism encourages us to wake up now, not tomorrow, not next year, not after life becomes easier, now. Appreciate the people around you while they are still here. Appreciate your health while you still have it. Appreciate ordinary moments before they become memories. Appreciate the opportunity to learn, grow, love, and experience another day of life. Stop treating each day as something guaranteed. Start seeing it for what it truly is, a gift. You do not need a perfect life to feel grateful. You do not need perfect circumstances to feel peace. You do not need to wait until you have everything before appreciating what you already have. Happiness begins the moment you stop chasing life and start experiencing it. Remember, one day you will take your final breath. One day you will see your final sunrise. One day you will experience your final ordinary day. And when that moment comes, you will not wish you had worried more. You will not wish you had compared yourself more. You will not wish you had spent more time chasing things that never truly mattered. You will wish you had lived. You will wish you had appreciated the people you loved. You will wish you had been present. You will wish you had noticed the beauty hidden inside ordinary moments. You will wish you had understood sooner that life itself was the gift. So do not wait until the end of your journey to learn this truth. Learn it now. Wake up now. Be grateful now. Live now. Train your mind to see every day as a gift. Because one day the days you take for granted today will become the days you wish you could experience one more time. And perhaps the greatest lesson of all is this: do not die without learning how precious it is to be alive.